Hello vMixers, and welcome to a quick tutorial on how you can add additional stingers to your vMix project. This is the first tutorial I've ever done, so please bear with me. Okay, I will start off by saying that you're going to need to add an image sequence to your project. I won't run through that because I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you already know how to do that and you want more stingers. If you don't, have a look on YouTube. There is a fantastic tutorial from the vMix guys on how to do that, and you can do it using the built-in video tools in vMix 20. Okay, so a quick bit about the project. I've just got a couple of pieces of stock footage here, and this malarkey here, but that's just so you can see and hear me. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add an image sequence to create our stinger. So we're going to go to add input, we're going to go to add image sequence stinger, and we're going to add this green stripy thing here. Okay, so let's just see if that works. Marvelous. Okay, next thing we're going to do is assign a shortcut to trigger our stinger overlay. So we're going to go to settings, and we're going to go to shortcuts, and we're going to go to add. Now you can use a keyboard key that you're not using, or you could use a key on a MIDI pad if you're using one of those. Anything that works that is free. So I'm going to use the page down button just because it's there. So I'm going to go find and then press page down and click OK. Now we need to tell it what function we want it to use. So we want it to overlay our green stripes. Now you can use any of the overlay channels. I'm going to use 2 just for the sake of it. And then we're going to tell it what we want it to overlay. So it's going to be our diagonal green stripes. And click OK. So now we can come out of the shortcut menu and let's see if that works. I'm going to press the page down button. Marvelous. Okay. Now what we're going to need to do is swap our program and preview using the same shortcut. Like that. Okay, so we're going to come down to the cog wheel here on our stripes. That is our stinger. And we're going to open up this menu. And we're going to go to triggers. And the first trigger that we're going to add is the actual transition between these two here. So we're going to go on overlay in, because obviously that's what our keyboard shortcut triggers. We are going to fade preview. So we will add that. Let's shut that and see if that works. So we push page down. Yep, marvelous. Okay, now there's 2 things that you'll notice there. One is that when we do fire this off, you can see the transition happen halfway through the animation. And that's because the timing point between the program and preview swapping over isn't correct. So if we take a look at our stinger here, you'll see that the point when it's nearly all full screen is roughly about there. So it's about 26 frames of 53. So what we're going to do is we're going to delay the transition between the program and preview. And we do that by going into the settings here, highlighting the trigger that we just made. And where it says delay here, we're going to put in approximately that figure, but in milliseconds rather than frames. So I know that this animation is roughly 1.8 seconds. So about halfway through, it's going to be 900 milliseconds. So we're going to add a delay of 900 milliseconds, and then we're going to click edit. And you can see it's updated here. So now if we close that, we load our program and preview again, and we hit page down. That was halfway through the animation, so we'll just stop that and go again. That's pretty good. We could maybe tighten that up just a little bit. I think the reason why we're still seeing through this is because the actual duration of that trigger is quite long. If you look here, it's 500. So what we're going to do is we're going to chop that down to say 200, and we're going to update it by hitting edit, and let's try that again. That's pretty good. But as you can see, you can just adjust that delay time so that your transition happens perfectly underneath your stinger. Now the last thing we've got an issue with is if you look down here, you can see that overlay 2 is still on. So we need to find a way to get rid of that, to automatically turn that off. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another trigger. So we're going to click our cog on our transition and we're going to add another trigger. Okay, so let's highlight it so we know which one we're working with. And we're going to use the same trigger, so we're going to use overlay in. And then what we actually want it to do is to take overlay 2 off. So if we go to our overlay here, and we just go overlay input 2. Now remember, that's a toggle switch, overlay input 2. So once in, once out. And then we're going to tell it what it is that we want it to take off of overlay input 2, which of course is our diagonal stripes. Okay, and we'll edit that. And we'll shut that down. Now let's try that. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a bit of a messy thing here. It's kind of stopped halfway through. And that's because we haven't allowed a delay to let the animation finish before we take it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our triggers menu here, and we're going to add a delay. Now I know that this animation is just around about 1.8 seconds. So what we're going to do, it's about 1.8 seconds. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 1800 milliseconds as a delay to take overlay 2 out. And then we're going to hit edit to update that. Now let's see if that works. So if we hit page down, which is our shortcut, we have our overlay graphic, we have our transition, and if you look, overlay 2 nicely turns itself off. And we can keep doing that to our heart's content. Now you can create as many of these as you want with different transitions. You just need to have a shortcut key assigned. I hope that's helpful and I hope that's made sense to everybody. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry if this rambled on for too long. Bye bye.